StrayAllDay.com.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is part 2 of our 5-part series, what will be a 5-part series on how to build relationships in business. Before we get started, 2 things. Daily motivation, Monday motivation, text message. Guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day or your week, respectively. Just text me at my number, 305-384-6894. When we start sending that message out again, you'll be getting it to your phone. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. You want to have me as your direct coach. It means you get on live calls with me. You get to share with me your challenges, your questions. Get my help when it comes to your mindset, your strategy, your systems, and your implementation for the things you're doing personally and professionally with me alongside you the entire way. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link is in the description of this episode. Now, with that out the way, let's pick up where we left off. We're picking up on point number 4. The topic again is how to build relationships in business. You can get the introduction by listening back to part 1 of this series. So let's go right into it. Point number 4. How to build relationships in business. Understand their needs. Best way to build a relationship with any human being is to give them what they want, or solve their problem, or to speak to whatever they care about, their desires, their needs, whatever their interests are. The better you understand this, the better you can speak directly to a person's soul by addressing what they care about the most. Best way to serve another person is this. If you understand what another person needs and wants, why they want it, and what it would do for them, then all you have to do is present that to them, and you will have their full attention. The way that you do this is, again, following what we shared in point number 3. How do you even find out what another person wants, needs, what they care about, what their desires are? How do you even find that out? They go post a list on Instagram that this is what they need, want, and desire? No. The way you figure it out is by listening. Point number 3. We talked about this in point number 3 yesterday. Listening. You want to get good at knowing what other people need and want. Listen to them speak. Now, some people will outwardly tell you exactly what they need. You can also ask people a question about what they need, or ask the right questions to figure out what they need. Or you can just listen to people, even if they're not directly talking about what they need. People will indirectly drop hints as to what they need and care about the most. If you pay attention, you will notice these subtle hints that people drop in their speech. They're not trying to be subtle, but people tend to, the more a person talks, the more they're going to show you exactly who they are, exactly where they are, exactly what they're doing, how they think, why they think that way, and what they need. For example, you've been listening to this show for a while, you have a pretty good feel of who I am and what I'm about. Even if you have never met me, even if you come from a completely different background as me, even if you've never played a sport, even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if you're not from Philadelphia like me, even if you're not Black, even if you're not an athlete, you have a pretty good idea of who I am, even if we have many differences between us. Why? Because I've talked so much that I can't help but to expose myself. I can't help but to expose who I am and what I'm about because I'm talking so much. And it's the same thing with any person. If you listen to them enough, they will tell you a whole lot about themselves. And what is this telling you? People who are online, influencers, podcasters, publishers, known people who just do a lot of speaking for whatever reason, whether they're interviewing people, getting interviewed, publishing, whatever, they're telling you everything you need to know about them if you would just pay damn attention. Again, most people don't pay attention. This is why most people don't even notice the hints that are being dropped right in front of their faces. So if you want to know what another person needs so that you can show them that you have it, listen to them talk. They're telling you exactly what it is. Only way to truly understand another person is to let them express themselves. And if you need clarification, you can ask them questions and let them express themselves even more. The better you understand another person's needs, the better they will believe that you have their best interests in mind. Now, understand their needs and then letting them know that you understand their needs. Then they'll know you have their best interests in mind. And if you can help fulfill those needs, even better. You have an open door to moving forward and building that relationship. And understand that what I'm explaining here applies in personal relationships as well as professional relationships. The good news to all of this, the silver, not even silver lining, the icing on the cake to all of this is that there is no human being on the planet, including everyone listening to my voice right now, who does not need anything. There's not a single person. Every person on the planet right now, no matter how well resourced, no matter how skilled, how much money they have, how many followers they got on TikTok, how happy they appear to be, There is no human being on this planet who is fully 1000% content and needs for nothing. Or let me not even say that, wants for nothing. Maybe some people don't need anything, but they want things anyway. And that means you have 8 billion opportunities, because that's the number of people that are on the planet. You got 8 billion opportunities to fulfill another person's desires. So when I say desires, I'm talking about things they need and things they want. Whatever words you want to use, doesn't matter. You get the spirit of my point. In personal and professional relationships, every person you meet has a desire that is, as of this moment, unfulfilled. The more of them you understand, the more desires of another person you understand, the better you can help them understand that they need it. And even better, if you can provide it, then you have that person's full, undivided attention. Point number 5. Today's topic, once again, is how to build relationships in business. Number 5, always offer value up front. Always offer value up front. When I think of relationships that I built with people who otherwise did not know me, I didn't know them, maybe I cold called and reached out to them. I built a lot of relationships by simply just reaching out to people cold, whether actually literally calling them, sending them a DM, sending them an email, things like that. The way that those relationships got started was me offering value up front. When I reach out to someone cold who doesn't know me, I don't know them, but I'm just reaching out to make myself known, I always offer value up front. Now, what value do you offer? Well, I just told you. Listen to point number 4. I just told you. I just told you what you offer up front. Best way to get anything from another person is to offer them something first. Best way to get anything from another person is to offer them something first. Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power. He says, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. In other words, if you want someone to do something for you, show them how you will do something for them. That is the best way to get someone's attention and to get someone's cooperation. You might think that a little bit Machiavellian. Is that kind of transactional? Is it not so nice and as flowery as it seemed when you were watching cartoons as a kid? Maybe all those things are true. Doesn't mean that this is also not true. It is true. If you want help from another person, the best way to get another person's help is to show them how you can help them so that they are willing to help you. Why? Because people are usually willing to reciprocate and give what they get. But if you just ask someone to give without getting anything, well, there's a limit to that. That's called charity, but there's a limit to how much charity anybody is willing to give, because they want to see an exchange. It needs to be an exchange. Again, you don't have to like this to use it. You can dislike something and still utilize it because you recognize the truth of it. All right, the law of reciprocity says that anytime we give, whomever or whatever we have given to has an ingrained desire to balance the budget, so to speak, by giving back to you. So if I just give you something for free and don't ask you for anything in exchange, you want to help me out by giving me something, back. Why? Because, again, you don't want to feel like you owe me something because I did something for you and you didn't do anything back. All right, this is how it works. So the easiest way to build a professional relationship, folks, is to identify something that another person wants and give it to them on your own volition. Let me say that again. Easiest way to build a professional relationship with anyone is to identify something that another person wants and give it to them on your own volition without asking for anything in exchange. If you want to ask for something in exchange, you can. Depending on how you do it and your personality, you can do it in a kind of tongue-in-cheek way that makes them understand what you're doing it for. But this is the best way to build a relationship with anybody. Just give them something. And again, I just told you, any of you who wants to build a relationship with a person, especially if they're a person of influence, all you got to do is plug into that person's world, follow them on social media, get on their email list, subscribe to their podcast, get on their YouTube channel, and just listen to everything that they're saying. Watch every video they put out, listen to every episode, listen to their off-the-cuff banter, and I guarantee you listen to enough, they will start telling you exactly what they want, and they will give you hints as to exactly how to get their eyes and get their ears and get their attention. I know influencers. There are influencers out there who I have in mind right now. I'm not even going to say their names. There are influencers out there right now that if I knew I needed to get these people's attention, I know exactly what I would offer them and how I would go about it, simply because I've heard them say things that tells me exactly what they care the most about. There are people in the tech world who I've heard them even say, I've literally heard them say it, that these are the things that this will get my attention if you do this. But people aren't they're hearing, but they're not listening. So they don't even notice it. If you were actually noticing, they're telling you exactly what they want. There's another person I know who mentioned one of the things that something that they like to eat. And so if I ever needed to get this guy's attention, I know exactly what I would get from him. I know exactly how I would send it to him. And I know exactly, and whatever I want to ask for, I can ask for. But I know it's going to get directly to him because of what it is. Why do I know that? Because he told me. He didn't tell me. He told everybody. He said it on his podcast, and I just heard him say it. I just kept it in the back of my mind. If I ever need to reach this guy, I know exactly what I'm going to give him. I'm ever go to a one-on-one meeting with this guy, I'm gonna bring this with me as a gift, and I already have it. The deal will be done as soon as I hand it to him. But before I even make him an offer, I know the deal's done because I did that. And he'll be like, "How'd you know I like this?" And I say, "I listen." That's what I would say to him. And this is the same thing you need to be doing, folks. If you just pay attention, it's right there in front of you. If you just pay attention, it is right there in front of you. Easiest way to build a relationship is just to give without asking. And you don't do this with a mindset of knowing you're going to get something. Give just because you want to give and to be helpful. And again, remember that the law of reciprocity is ingrained in human beings. It is wired in us. So even if you are giving because you're trying to set yourself up to receive, and I mean, if we're doing business, there's nothing wrong with that. If you give, even without making an ask, that person wants to balance the budget, and they will remember you when you come back around. Even if you don't ask for anything on the moment, you come back around the next year, they'll remember you because of what you did the last time. And they'll remember you usually by how things started. First impressions mean a lot, folks. So even if you don't get anything back from a person right there in the moment, you have made a friend of someone who recognizes the fact that you took time to listen and think about them and consider them, and they weren't listening, thinking about, or considering you. So again, they got to balance that book. They got to balance that book. They will do something for you to balance that book because they will feel guilty not balancing the book. Now, there are exceptions. You run into a psychopath, maybe they won't care, but most people are not that. Since most people are self-centered and focused on themselves, you doing this will make you stand out from everyone else because most people don't think along these lines. So I'm giving you the game here, literally, on how to build a relationship with any type of person. You can do this. You can take this outside of business. You can use this in any aspect of life, as long as you can get enough information on another person. Another way to get information on another person is to find the people who are close to them and talk to that person, because that person might not be as in demand as the main person. So let's say you're trying to reach a really in demand person who has 1,000 DMs in their inbox every day. You might not be able to reach them, but if you can reach their friend or someone who works for them, that person doesn't get 1,000 DMs a day, and that person can probably give you some information depending on how you make your approach. This is all in your communication skills. And I coach people on how to do this stuff, by the way. Moving on to point number 6. We're talking here today about how to build relationships in business. Number 6, deliver on your promises. Whenever you tell another person that you're going to do something, make sure you actually do it. And the more often you deliver, the more value you build, the more trust you build, and you make yourself a more valuable and less replaceable person because you actually delivered on a promise. First of all, you made a promise and you delivered on it. And if the promise is actually good, then they won't forget that. And if you fail to deliver, they won't forget that either. So since many people do not deliver on their promises or are incapable of promising anything of value to you, as soon as you make such a promise and actually deliver on it, again, you stand out from everybody else. So a lot of people don't make promises because they don't really have anything to offer, or they don't make promises they're afraid they can't deliver. But if you make a promise of a valuable offer and you deliver, then you stand out because nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is doing all three. So in short, you simply need to remember 2 things. 1 is offer something that the other person actually needs or wants. 2 is deliver on the thing, with the caveat that you should not make a promise that you can't keep. All right, so don't make a promise of something that you can't actually do. Make a promise of something that you can actually do. Get creative and come up with something that would actually be useful to whomever you're making your offer. If you're unsure about that, then you need to talk to someone like me who can help you brainstorm and come up with the right idea of what to offer what person at the right time in the right way for the right reasons. When you offer people something that they need or want and deliver on it, again, you've already set yourself apart. So part of this is being strategic about whom you look to associate, because you need to be able to offer them something that they would want. So if the things that you're offering are things that they simply are not interested in and don't want, then it doesn't really matter how creative you are because they are just not interested in that thing. So doing this identification, for lack of a better term, is first of all listening to another person so you can find out what they care about, and then taking inventory of yourself and what you have and asking yourself, well, knowing these things that this person wants, do I have anything that looks, sounds, or feels like the things that this person wants? Because if you don't, then maybe you're just looking at the wrong person. Maybe you're barking up the wrong tree, or maybe you just need to go get some resources so you can go get the thing that they want. Because if it's something that another person wants, it doesn't have to come from your vault, doesn't have to come off of your shelf. You can go buy it and give it to them. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. The person wants a book off Amazon and you don't have the book, you just go on Amazon, buy it, ship it to them, and say, hey, this came from me. What's stopping you from doing that? Again, answer is nothing. So you just got to be 3-dimensional in your thinking here as to what does this person want? Do I have something that fits? again, sometimes we reach out to people in our world and work on your game. We reach out to people sometimes and we get responses that say something like, thank you for reaching out, but we are only working with female entrepreneurs right now. We've gotten that response. Or someone will say something like, well, we only work with people who work in a certain industry, like they had to be in the medical industry, or people who are focused on health. So even though your stuff is good, Dre, that's not really going to fit with what we're looking for. And this is what happens. Or someone will say, well, we're not looking to do anything right now. We're not taking on any new guests for our show. We're not looking to do any new collaborations or partnerships at this time. I'm finishing up writing my book. I'm about to go on tour. I'm going on a 6-month sabbatical. We get all these different types of responses from people. And we reach out to a lot of people. So I don't even see all the rejections, if you want to call it that we get from people. But the ones that I do see, these are some things that I hear. And all these are perfectly fine. See, I don't want to work with anyone who is not looking for something that I have to offer. I want to work with people who are looking for the things that I have, because that makes me look good. Because it would be a useless relationship if I'm just offering you something that you don't need and you're taking on something that you don't even want. That I'm not benefiting and you're not benefiting. So that's a waste. So I prefer when people tell me, hey, this is where we're at. This is not going to work for us. That's completely fine, because that frees up space for me to go find someone who is looking for what I have. And that's the ideal connection. That's what you want. Not just someone who will hear you, but someone who is listening to you and they want what you have. That's the magic formula. Recapping today's class was part 2 of our what will be 5-part series on how to build relationships in business. Number 4, understand their needs. The way you can understand another person's needs is by simply listening, especially if they're a public figure. They have told you out loud exactly what they need and want. By just the more that anyone talks, the more they expose these things. If you pay attention and read between the lines, you will notice. Number 5, I always offer value up front. Remember that first impressions are lasting impressions. So if you show up to someone offering value, you trigger the reciprocity instinct within them that they want to pay you back for the good that you have done them. Set yourself up to win by doing this. And this requires you making an investment up front, not guaranteed that you're going to get anything back. Number 6, deliver on your promises. Whatever you say you're going to do, just actually do it. Make a promise, have it be something that they want, and then actually deliver on it. Set you apart from most other people who tend to just focus on themselves and what they can get, never even ask themselves, hey, what promise can I make to this other person, and actually deliver on that, setting up the reciprocity anyway. So again, sometimes people will turn you down when you're doing these reach outs because what you have is simply not what they're looking for. Maybe you're a man, they're looking for women. Maybe you're a millennial, they're looking for Gen Xers or Gen Zers or baby boomers. Maybe you have a certain type of business and they're looking for people in a completely different industry. It's completely fine, because you don't have what they want. What you're offering is just not the thing that they're looking for at this time. You want to go find the people who are looking for it, because there are people out there looking for what you have. And if you ever had anybody watch your video on social media or like one of your posts, that is proof that there are people out there who want what you have. You just have to go find those people and find those pockets and just offer your stuff where there are people who are willing to buy. All that said, tomorrow we get into part 3 of this series. WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. Have me as your direct coach. Be able to access all of our trainings and courses and all of our best online materials like Bulletproof Mindset, the Business Builder Framework, Work on Your Game System, Next Mission Process, 30 Days Discipline, ASAP Confidence, and more. All with me as your direct coach. Go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all